Welcome to your Goucher journey. I'm Emily Pearl, Associate Vice President for Student Success, and I am co-chairing our Welcome Committee with my colleague. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Dylan Gerald. I'm Assistant Director of Enrollment Systems at Goucher, and I'm also on the onboarding committee.
Next slide. So this is the first in a series of videos. We're glad that you made your way to our video where we're going to give you an overview of the new student roadmap. We wanted to let you know what will be coming up next. In addition to this video, there will be 3 more videos posted soon um, on the topics listed there. And then in June, we'll get more into living on campus and what it means to engage with campus life. And toward the end of June, all things financial and preparing for arrival. Interspersed with these videos will be live Q&A sessions. So we encourage you to watch each of the videos as they are released and then join us a few weeks later for a Q&A session where you can ask us questions about topics that have been presented in the videos. We will assemble appropriate staff who can answer questions about each of these topics. So, for example, on Wednesday, May 20th at 7 p.m., register for this live Q&A session, and you can ask us questions about the new student roadmap, the academic experience, and advising and academic support systems available. And so on. So for Tuesday, June 9th, we'll focus on living on campus and engaging with campus life, as well as everything to do with health forms and services available for the Healthy Goucher student. On Tuesday, July 14th, we'll answer your questions about all things financial and preparing for arrival. So the new student roadmap is your guide to preparing for orientation at Goucher. We've created this roadmap to give you 5 different stops along the way between now and when you arrive on campus. And corresponding to each stop, you will receive an email with a list of things that you need to complete before you can proceed to the next stop. Next slide. We've already mailed you this new student roadmap flyer. This is what it looked like. So look for that in your mail, and that will help you follow along with the new student roadmap, as well as you'll be able to find this list of items on Goucher's website.
And so we have a web page that you can go and see all of the stops of the roadmap. You also have access to the roadmap within your admissions and financial aid status portal. You got access to that during the application process at Goucher, and that's the same place where you would have replied to the offer of admission, and it's also where you would have submitted your deposit if you did that. Now a new tab has been added to it. So you've seen the admission tab, you've seen the financial aid tab, and now there's a third roadmap tab. On there, you will be able to see all of the checklist items related to the new student roadmap. Similarly, they'll be broken out into each stop, and as each stop is released, the items that correspond to that stop will appear on the portal. In order to access all of this, you'll continue to use the same login credentials that you've used on your admissions portal up to now. For most students, this is like a Gmail account or a Yahoo or something like that. And then once you're inside of that portal, you may be asked to log in using your Goucher credentials to other platforms. Some of those might be for like advising or other things, but if prompted to enter in a new credential, then in those cases, you'll use your Goucher network ID and your password. So the first stop is all about early preparations. First stop generally is going to release in March, April timeframe, and it is really the beginnings of you getting prepared to join us in the community. So a lot of this can be administrative work, like submitting your selfie for your one card so that you have a student ID. You'll need to sign the computer and data use policy, for example, so that you have access to use Goucher's network. And so all of the items on here uh, can be really beneficial for students to be able to do them early so as to not have any roadblocks down the road later. Stop 2 is really all about the campus experience and what you're really at college to do. So focusing on living and learning. And in these, the theme of this is all about, where you'll live and what you're here to do. So your advisor is going to help create your schedule during your first semester. And then your housing and meal plan application will correspond with the housing assignment that you later receive. So those will begin collecting information from you so that we can begin to make those for you.
Sometime after you receive the Stop to email, you will actually get a mailing from Goucher. And in that mailing will be a couple gifts from us, but most importantly, the book that serves as your first year summer reading. So this book is called Behind You is the Sea by Susan Daraj. It's a wonderful book of stories about various Palestinian families living in Baltimore. It's a novel, it is fiction. Um, and so we hope you will enjoy reading it. But along with that will come an assignment, an essay that you'll need to write before you arrive on campus in the fall. During fall orientation, you will meet in a group with a professor and discuss the book and talk about your writing assignment. And this whole assignment helps you to prepare you and is the first step in our general Goucher Commons requirement called the Race, Power, and Perspective requirement. So we consider this sort of the first step to learning more about topics of race, power, and perspective at Goucher.
Shortly after that, we'll hit stop 3. Stop 3 is really all about financial obligations. So a lot of these items are related to financial aid, student financial services, and student accounts and billing. So you'll see that, e-billing access for family members is on there, or accepting and declining all of your financial aid. So all of those things are things that you should be able to do if they're available on your portal, and all in order to make sure that you have everything set up financially at the college as well. We tend to release this stop in right around the July 4th holiday. So in early July is when we tend to have bills go out, and shortly before that is when this stop will be released as well. Stop 4 is one of my favorite parts. It's really all about getting connected, and this is like the first like exposure that a lot of students have to some of the fun things that exist on the campus, and some of those student support offices as well. So you'll be, obviously it says register your car for parking, but I do want to call out like the Navigate app and completing the new student survey. Those just help you get a greater sense of what you'll be able to do at Goucher and who you'll connect with once you're here. And lastly is stop 5 along the roadmap. Stop 5 is your preparing for arrival stop. So in here, we will share a lot of information, and stop 5 has many less things for you to actually, many less items to complete. But so in here, we'll send a lot of information about new student orientation, the welcome week schedule, and some specific information about what to bring and what your arrival will look like for move-in if you're a residential, or what your commuter check-in will look like for commuter students. So that will generally come out towards the end of the summer as we are making those last minute preparations for orientation. Some helpful reminders. We wanted to show this just because not everything, uh, there a lot of things go into preparing for college, and so we just wanted to call out a few that might not have been mentioned specifically in some of the stops. So one of the things that is super critical is submitting a selfie for your one card. Um, One card is your student ID, and that's how you'll access most things on campus, particularly all campus buildings, as well as your meal plan if you have one. So please, please, please make sure that you submit a selfie or a headshot rather for your one card photo, so that your ID can be prepared whenever you arrive.
So back in stop one, which you've probably already received if you've made your way to this video, um, was information about the health forms that you need to have completed and on file before you arrive on campus. So we just wanted to reiterate the importance of these. Schedule an appointment with your doctor or pediatrician now to get a physical and get those forms filled out. You cannot move onto campus without having completed those. So make sure you get those done actually by August 1st, but know how critical that is to being allowed to live on campus. Um, if you're the kind of person that likes to plan ahead, you can go onto Goucher's website, www.goucher.edu, and search for the Residence Life Packing List, and you can start to see and plan out what kinds of things you need to bring to campus, what you might need to go out and shop for, etc. Another thing to think about is if you're planning to get a job on campus, you will need some original documents, such as a driver's license, a state ID, a passport, a social security card, or a birth certificate in order to get on Goucher's payroll. So plan to bring at least two original documents that can show your identification. Um, Also on Goucher's website, you can just type in what technology to bring, and it'll take you to a site that will tell you about um, what you're going to need in terms of a laptop and other technology when you come to Goucher. So one of the most important things on this slide is once you have your Goucher credentials, you need to start checking your Goucher email regularly. I would say it's okay up until about mid-July to check it weekly, but as you get closer to arriving on campus and once you are a full-time Goucher student, we do expect that you are reading your email daily. It is our official form of communication with Goucher students. Next slide. So just to wrap it up, as we said at the beginning, we have a series of these videos as well as Q&A sessions. You can hover over this QR code and go to the list of these sessions. These are both for new students and their families. So we encourage everyone in your family to watch the videos. We encourage you all to attend the Q&A sessions. However, if only one person in your family is available, then fine, send that one person and they can report back to the rest of the family. And then, as always, if you have questions for us, just email us at welcome@goucher.edu. See you soon.
Amazing. I think that was good. I think
I
that
think
was a good
so too.
run-through.
I mean, there's a few things there's like, okay, hem and haw there. I could have sounded better, but it's authentic.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think we did great.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of good information.
Yeah. Okay.
So how long was that?
I don't even know. I'm gonna stop
Can you
recording.
see though on the recording? Like, I think it
Um,
was about 15 minutes.
it's not letting me pause.